Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So now we'll start our seminar. Today we are streaming from Iskcon Bergen Temple. So you see our lovely deities in the background. So with the auspicious presence of Shri Nitya Gaura Chandra, we will talk about Gaudiya Vaishnava history. So we cannot cover everything, of course, since Gaudiya Vaishnavism is a very broad topic. However, we will at least cover something. The main characters, the main players in the Gaudiya Vaishnava history, we will talk about. So it's called the Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Mostly, it's a geographical term. Gaudiya, it means Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was from the Gauda district of Navadvip. So, Gaudiya Vaishnavism is, in other words, all about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's sometimes called Chaitanya Vaishnavism. So he is the starter of the tradition. His guru was Ishvara Puri, and then Ishvara Puri's guru was Madhavendra Puri, who actually came from the Madhva Sampradaya. Yeah. So the Madhva Sampradaya is part of the Brahma Sampradaya. So we are in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Yeah. So we are in the centuries back in the 1500th century when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, and the gurus of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there. It's about 500 years ago. Yeah, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born in 1486, and he passed away in 1534. He had associates, as probably most of you are familiar with. He had his associate Nityananda Prabhu. There is a nice verse which says, it's in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It says that Chaitanya Nityananda Gaudiya Ado. It says that these two, and it's explained there like the Surya and the Chandra, the sun and the moon has arisen on the horizons of Gauda Dash. And the sun and the moon, that is Nityananda and Chaitanya, or Gaura, yeah, Gauranga. He was also called Gauranga. Actually, one of the reasons there is a lot of focus on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being called Gaura or Gauranga is because of a famous prediction in the Mahabharata. Suvarna Hema. It says he had the color Varna of Hema, of gold. There's a reference there. And also in the... Yeah, it's part of the Vishnu Sahasranama. There is said that the Krishna he incarnates as a sannyasi. Yeah. And in a few other Puranas it's also said that the Lord appears as a renunciate sannyasi in the age of Kali. And of course in the Bhagavatam we have the famous verse, Krishna Varnam Tvisa Krishnam Sangupangashtra Parshadam Yagyair Sankirtanam Pragyay Yayantihi Sumeda Saha. That the Lord is coming, because Varna also means actually to chant, so or to utter on one's tongue. So Krishna Varnam, he's always chanting Krishna. Tvisa Krishnam, but he's not in the color of Krishna. So that is another explanation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's descent. In the Bhagavatam, we have the astrologer of Nanda and Yashoda when Krishna is born. The astrologer is saying that this child before has come in different colors. He says Pitta, Rakta, and so Pitta means yellow color, Rakta, red color, and he's also came in the white color, yeah. And now he's come in the black color. So this is from the 10th canto of Bhagavatam. So our acharyas, like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, is explaining that he came as a white color, as a swan, Hamsavatar. He was a white swan. He came as a red color when he was a Yagya personified in the Treta Yuga. So Swan Avatar, Hamsa Avatar came in Satya Yuga. The red incarnation was Yagya personified in Treta Yuga. And he came as Krishna, blackish. Of course, that was in the previous age, Dvapar Yuga. And then in the Kali Yuga, this is the reference to Pitta, or yellow or golden. Yeah, Pitta is also can also be used for golden. Yeah, Lord is called Pitambara. He's wearing yellow clothes. Krishna is wearing yellow golden like dhoti. And Krishna's consort Srimati Radharani has been described as Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi. There you have Gauranga. She is also called Gauranga. Srimati Radhika. So she appears as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu together with Krishna. Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is identical, but at the same time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also taking the complexion and the mood of Srimati Radharani. That's why he has a golden color. Gauranga, he has the same epithet as also Srimati Radharani has, like molten gold in the color, in the skin. Yeah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna, Naya Anya. There is no difference between Radha and Krishna. In Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is both. Yeah. So he is the start of... so when we talk about Gaudiya Vaishnava history, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the start of it all. Yeah. So I don't need to have a picture of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because I have it just behind me here is Chaitanya and Nityananda. You can watch them. Are they looking golden? Indeed they are. Yeah, they're shining. So in the same way, their followers were also shining. We will take a look at the main stalwart followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who started the Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So as I explained, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appeared in Gaudadesh, in the district of Nadia in West Bengal. So that's why it's called Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And his spiritual master was Ishvara Puri, who again had the spiritual master Madhavendra Puri. So it's explained that actually Madhavendra Puri, he was the first one who got the Radha Bhava in his being. So somehow or other, Srimati Radharani's mood appeared first in him, and then he gave it further to his disciple Ishvara Puri, and then Ishvara Puri gave it to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna's incarnation in order to experience the Radha Bhava. So I'll take a look now. I have an extra phone so I can see your chat messages. So just give me a second. Okay, we have Thea is saying Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I'm sorry today I didn't plan to use Zoom actually. I hope it will work okay. I wanted to test out now to have a second device where I'm looking at the chats. So you can communicate with me here on the direct chat. Yeah, so Sanatani Mataji is there, Haribol. Yeah, so it looks like this can work. Yeah, so the chat is definitely working. Let's see. It says we have 9 people in here now in the chat. So feel free to say your to make your presence known. Then we know the system is working. Yeah. So is that clear? Gaudiya Vaishnavism is because it started in Gaudiya district in Navadvip, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born, and he was born in Mayapur. Yeah. So that's where we have Iskcon's headquarters. Just outside Mayapur, you can say center. It's just just 5 minutes walk, 10 minutes walk. Is the actual birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah, like that. So that's the very start of the Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And we were in the Gaudiya Madhva, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. And the reason for that is because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he had a spiritual master who was Ishvara Puri, whose spiritual master was Madhavendra Puri. And Madhavendra Puri, he came from the Madhva Sampradaya. Some or other, in Madhavendra Puri's being, he got revealed the Radha Bhava, or also called Mahabhava. And he was the first one. Yeah, according to Vaishnava historians, he was the first one who actually got this special high level prema. Yeah. If you were here on my previous seminar about the 9 levels of bhakti and the 9 practices of bhakti, the 9 levels of bhakti is Shraddha, Adav Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishta, Ruchi, Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava and Prema. It's 9 levels, yeah. But inside this Prema level, there is different stages also. So apparently the highest stage is the Mahabhavi level, which Srimati Radharani, of course, she is the highest devotee of Krishna, so she has that. And for the first time on the earth planet, it was manifested. That was in, of course, it was there when Krishna had his Leela 5,000 years ago in Krishna's associates. But after that, in Kali Yuga, first time it was manifested in the disciplic line. over the parampara. That was in Madhavendra Puri. And then he gave it on to Ishvara Puri. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he, you can say, of course, by chance. It was not really by chance. But by the arrangement of the Lord, it looked like it was by chance. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's father had died. And he went to the holy place called Goa, where there is a specific temple of Vishnu where one is going to have the Shraddha ceremony. Yep. In order to have the best kind of, destiny for one's father, one can go there and do the Shraddha ceremony directly at that place. Otherwise, usually people go to temple to have Shraddha ceremony, but it's even more auspicious, or you can say the absolute highest level is to go to that specific Vishnu temple situated in Goa. So he went there to have the Shraddha ceremony for his father, and there he met Ishvara Puri. And Ishvara Puri was full of devotional ecstasy in Mahabhav stage because he got it from his spiritual master, Madhavendra Puri. So in that way, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came back, actually he was not called Chaitanya at that time, he was called Nimai Pandit. So that's the explanation why sometimes, maybe for new devotees, you may wonder sometimes why sometimes say Jai Nimai, Jai Nitai. What's going on? Who is this Nimai? We know who Nitai is, that's short for Nityananda. But Nimai, doesn't we call him Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Gauranga, but Nimai? Well, actually that's the birth name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he was born under the Neem tree. Yeah, Neem is a holy tree. Sometimes actually we have the beads, chanting beads. If they're not made with Tulsi, which is the best, then Neem is there. Actually, there is no difference. They're both as holy, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born under the Neem tree. The Neem is just as holy. So no problem. You can chant with Neem beads also. But anyway, so that's why that's why his name was Nimai. Yeah. And because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born under the Nimai tree, then the Nimai tree, Nimai wood has also became on the topmost level of holiness. Yeah. So let's see. I'll check the chat. If any more messages? Yeah. Okay. Just give me a second. I'll just take up my old device here. Yeah. Okay, so we can now move on to the Vaishnava saints. We have gotten a handy book here, talk about the Vaishnava saints. So previously, and that is actually the thing that we got some feedback that from not yesterday, but the day before yesterday, we were talking about Rupa Goswami. And we also mentioned, the 6 Goswamis quickly. We didn't mention too much about them. And maybe there was some small error. Maybe I was mixing up a little bit. But anyway, now we will get it completely clear, because now we have a text in front of us. And also, if something was unclear from previously, you can write in the chat box. I hope I will log in here to actually be sure I get it properly. Just give me a second, because it doesn't look like I'm getting the updated chat messages. Let's see. Let's see. Something is wrong here. Anyway. Yeah. So I hope I'm getting all the messages here. Yeah. I think so. Yeah. Okay, so in case I'm not getting all the messages, you have to send me a message that I'm missing messages. Now, as far as I'm concerned, now I've gotten until now 3 messages. So I hope that's correct. Otherwise, I have to update my system on this phone. Yeah. Okay, so we talk about the 6 Goswamis. I mentioned a lot on the Sunday about Rupa Goswami. So we'll not talk very, very much. We'll talk about him also very much because he's the main of the Goswamis. Of course, all the Goswamis are main. They were specifically selected by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But actually, all of the Goswamis were specifically selected by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and also other great Vaishnava saints such as Srinivas, Narottam Das Thakur, Shyamananda. Of course, later on, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gaurkishore Das Babaji, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami. We talk about all this because they have shaped what we have today. And of course, in the end, we will talk about Srila Prabhupada and also about our movement, how it's, which direction it's going today is also very interesting. So, first of all, the Goswamis. I'll just briefly mention. So we have on our altar, even if you can see in the behind me there, you see there is we have our Guru Parampara picture. There is always Srila Prabhupada there, Srila Prabhupada's Guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Then there is Gaurkishore Das Babaji. There is Jagannath Das Babaji. Did I miss one? Yeah, of course, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and then Jagannath Das Babaji. So, yeah. So it starts with Bhaktivinoda Thakur, then Jagannath Das Babaji, then Gaurkishore Das Babaji, then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and then Srila Prabhupada. Now, what about the link between Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? There are a few gurus in between there. Not all of them were very great reformers, you can say. They were great devotees, but those who actually really shaped our movement, who stand out more than the others, these are the ones we are mentioning. And that's why after Bhaktivinoda, or before Bhaktivinoda Thakur, it's just a picture of the 6 Goswamis, right? And then we don't have any more pictures. We have Gaur and Nitai themselves. But there are many people in between there. Sometimes we have a picture of the Pancha Tattva. And in many temples in Iskcon we also have Pancha Tattva. So Pancha Tattva is a concept also formulated in Chaitanya Charitamrita and a few other Gaudiya Vaishnava works. So that were the companions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who helped him establish the Sankirtan mission. Yeah. Bhakta Svupam Bhakti Aikam, Bhakta Avatar, Bhakti Shaktikam. Yeah. So there is a verse saying that who are these 5 people in the Panchatattva? Let's see if we can look it up. Panchatattva. Let's see. Panchatattva Atmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Surupakam. If you like, I can put it up on the screen here also. Yeah. Bhakta Avataram Bhakti Aikam, Namami Bhakti Shaktikam, Bhakta Shaktikam. Yeah. So since we talk about the Gaudiya Vaishnava history, we have to talk about the first person in the Gaudiya Vaishnava history is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course. Gaudiya Vaishnavism is also called Chaitanya Vaishnavism. And then he is expanding himself, or he has his entourage or closest associates are the Panchatattva. So we'll look that up in the Veda base now. Let's see, I can just go here. See, Veda base. Pancha Tattva Makam. Yeah, you see we get what we want. Yeah, there we have it. Yes. Oh no, there's another one. See, should have that verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna Bhakta Rupa. Okay, let's see if we get it up. Yeah, okay, where we get it here? Yeah, there it is. You see that one? Which verse is this? Adi 7, 6. Okay, you can look it up in the database. It looks better there. Database Adi 7, 6. Yeah. There we have it. Yeah, everybody can see that one. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adlila, chapter 7, verse 6. So I hope you all can see this. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Svarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktyaikyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Okay, so what does this verse say? Panchatattva Atmakam, comprehending the 5 transcendental subject matters, Krishnam unto Lord Krishna, Bhakta Rupa in the form of a devotee, Svarupakam in the expansion of a devotee, Bhakta Avataram in the incarnation of a devotee, Bhakta Akyam known as a devotee, Namami Bhakti Shaktikam. Yeah, so who are these 5 people? Well, we say that in the Panchatattva mantra. Yeah, they are Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu, Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhar, Shivasadi, Gaura, Bhaktavrinda. Okay, so let's see. We have who is Krishna? Krishna, that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah, that's the first one. Bhakta Rupa. Okay, you'll have to look what is Prabhupada saying here. Let me offer my obeisances unto Lord Shri Krishna, who has manifested himself in 5 as a devotee, expansion of a devotee, incarnation of a devotee, pure devotee, and devotional energy. Okay, so let's see what Prabhupada says. Shri Nityananda Prabhu is the immediate expansion of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as his brother. He is the personified spiritual bliss of Satchidananda Vigraha. So his body is transcendental and full of ecstasy and devotional service. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is therefore called Bhakta Rupa, the form of a devotee, and Shri Nityananda Prabhu is called Bhakta Svarupa, the expansion of a devotee. Shri Advaita Prabhu, the incarnation of a devotee, is Vishnu Tattva and belongs to the same category. So he is the incarnation, yeah. And there are also different types of bhaktas or devotees on the platforms of neutrality, servitude, friendship, parenthood, and conjugal love. Devotees like Shri Damodar, Shri Gadadhar, and Shri Ramananda are different energies. This confirms the Vedic Sutra, Parasya Shakti Virdhaya Shuruyate. All these bhakta subjects taken together constitute Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself. Well, we learned that actually when we say Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, that is all the devotees, starting with Srivas. So Srivas is representing all the bhaktas. Yeah. And Gadadhar is representing the energy. Yeah. He's representing the devotional energy. Was it mentioned here? Yeah. Devotional energy was the last one. So that is or the pure devotee. Let's see, how can we get this? Yeah. Yeah, Bhakta Shakti, Bhakta Akyam. So the devotee in itself is a Bhakta Rupa in the form of the devotee. That's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Svarupakam, that's Nityananda Prabhu. Yeah, that's what Prabhupada said there. So Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Bhakta Rupa. Yeah. He comes in the form of a devotee. Yeah. So it's a little bit tricky, but exactly Krishna is not actually, he's actually not his own devotee, right? He's just playing. He has taken the form, yeah. He took the form of Srimati Radharani. The complexion. That's why he's golden. He's not himself, okay? He is Chaitanya. Krishna is black, right? He's blackish. But now he's playing a role. So that's why he said he's not exactly directly a devotee, he's in the form of a devotee. He's very subtle, yeah. And it's explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita also. He did that in order to taste what is the taste that my pure devotee has of me. So as Krishna, he can understand better his pure devotee. Yeah. And then Svarupakam, in the expansion of a devotee, because all of his incarnations now are devotees. All of the expansions of Krishna are devotees, actually. Starting with Balaram. Balaram is the first expansion of Krishna, who's then representing Dasya, the mood of servitor. So that is spread then, because Balaram is then expanding all the other devotees. Yeah. So we are all having that mood of Dasya, following in the footsteps of Balaram or Nityananda, because Balaram is again the same person as Nityananda Prabhu. He comes as the brother of Chaitanya, and similarly as Balaram is the brother of Krishna. Yep. So he is in the expansion of devotee, Svarupa. And Bhakta Avatar, who was the Bhakta Avatar? Incarnation of a devotee, that was Advaita Acharya. Yeah. So Advaita Acharya is explained to be the incarnation of Mahavishnu and also Lord Shiva in one, a combination of Mahavishnu and Lord Shiva. And both are avatars into the material world. Lord Shiva is definitely belonging, he has a job to do in the material world. Yeah. It said in the Brahma Samhita, Kshirayata dadi vikara vishesha yogat Yashambodam nitata samupahiti karyad Govindamari purusham tamam bhajami. Lord Shiva is coming to the material world to do a job, and he's changing. Krishna is changing just like you have when you have the milk and it's touched by the curdling agent, such as tamarind, it becomes to yogurt. So in the same way, Krishna, when he incarnates in the material world, in touch with the material energy of ignorance or tamagun, then he becomes Lord Shiva. And he's there for a specific purpose, to do a job, to be in charge of the mode of ignorance in a very merciful way. That is Lord Shiva. Yeah. So incarnation of Lord Shiva and Mahavishnu combined. Now Mahavishnu, on the other hand, when he comes to the material world, he comes first as the Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. And from him, from the navel lotus of Mahavishnu is growing the lotus in which Lord Brahma is being born. And from Brahma is all the living entities, bodies created. And again, the next incarnation of Vishnu is entering into the hearts of all living entities as the Paramatma. So this is Mahavishnu. So in other words, this person is also now incarnated as Advaita Acharya. So in the Leela of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the combined incarnation of Mahavishnu and Shiva is there also. And he's always having the appearance of being very old. If you see the picture of Advaita Acharya, he has a long beard. He was already old when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born. Yeah. And then you have Bhakta Akya. So that is then Shivas. Yeah, Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. He's the first of all the Bhaktas. Yeah. And it said that he is the incarnation of Narad Muni. Yeah. And Bhakti Shakti, that is Gadadhar, who is the incarnation, Gadadhar Pandit. He is the incarnation of the Shakti of Srimati Radharani. Yep. She has really the Shakti of the devotion. Yeah. So in that way, we have the Pancha Tattva. Yeah. So now we'll go back to look at. So we just, we cannot go extremely deep. We just go through all these people who have shaped, the Gaudiya Vaishnavism, starting with Chaitanya himself and the Pancha Tattva. So now we have the philosophies there. It's written down already. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he only wrote the Shikshastaka. It's 8 prayers. And basically the Shikshastaka is about, the glories of the whole name and the chanting of the whole name. But his contemporaries were writing, notebooks about what happened in the Chaitanya's pastimes. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he lived for 48 years. First 24 years, you can say the last 24 years, then he was a sannyasi. Yeah. Before that, he was going through childhood and like that. He was married, and he took sannyasa already at the age of 24. And all this has been described in the literature written by his devotees. Such as his personal secretary, Swarup Damodar Goswami. And these notebooks, these notes were read and studied, and he also spoke with many others. The person who wrote Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he consulted these notebooks of the contemporaries of Chaitanya, because Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami came later. Yep, he came later after Chaitanya and Nityananda had left the planet. Yep. But some of the contemporaries of Chaitanya, they were still there. Some of the old devotees were still there. He talked with them and he looked at the notebooks, and so he composed Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is the crown jewel of the Gaudiya Vaishnava literature, because it's good to know in the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition what kind of literature we have. And Chaitanya Charitamrita is definitely most prominent, since Srila Prabhupada he chose to translate this. He could have chosen so many other books. All of them are wonderful, but this is most prominent. And he also chose to translate the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Yep. And that was written by Rupa Goswami, so one of the 6 Goswamis. So the 6 Goswamis, they were instructed to expound the Bhakti literature, to write Bhakti Shastras, just like we have a course called the Bhakti Shastri. So the books about Bhakti. And in the most detailed way, it was done by Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, also translated by Prabhupada, called the Nectar of Devotion. And also Upadeshamrita, Nectar of Instruction, also by Rupa Goswami, 2 most important books of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And then you have the 6 Sandarbhas, explaining very, very much in theological detail about our philosophy. These were done by Jiva Goswami. And then you have Sanatana Goswami also writing Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Krishna Lila Stavas, Stavamala, a few very important books about Krishna, and also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is mentioned very much in his books. And then you have the other Goswamis also we'll go through, like Raghunath Das Goswami is the first Goswami we mentioned here. As a child, Raghunath Das Goswami was instructed by Balaram Acharya and Haridas Thakur. So Haridas Thakur is also one of the great associates of Chaitanya, known as a Namacharya. He is famous for chanting Hare Krishna very much. Yeah, how many names he chanted, I don't remember now, but it was at least 100,000 a day. Yeah, so he's a great inspiration for all chanters of the whole name. So that was his specific task. And so different devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they got different tasks to do, different tasks to perform. So what was Raghunath Das Goswami's task? Let's see. So so Raghunath Das Goswami, he met Lord Chaitanya after he had taken sannyas. So he was allowed to see the Lord, and Chaitanya, he ordered Raghunath Das Goswami to stay with his family and live like a worldly man. So he did that, and he was married. He had family. Well, he met. He wanted actually to escape and just meet the Lord. He was completely dedicated to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. He wanted to just join him full time. So finally he he was wealthy. Yeah. At one point he was able to join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu full time. We'll look at that in the end of his Leela here. Let's see. He got instruction from Nityananda Prabhu to have the famous chipped rice festival, rice and yogurt. It's called Kshira Dadi. Now what is it called? Something like that, the Dadi festival. Dadi means yogurt, and Kshira, I think, means rice. Yeah. Kshira Dadi festival, if I'm not wrong. Kshira Dadi Utsava. And then he was so lucky to get, the Mahaprasadam of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu's plates after that festival. And he begs privately to Lord Nityananda for Lord Chaitanya's mercy, and Nityananda Prabhu, he gives his blessings to him, and all the blessings of all devotees, and then he gives a lot of devotions to Raghunath Das Goswami because he was wealthy, coming from a rich family. And he tried to escape so much. He had great wealth, beautiful wife, everything he had materially, but he actually wanted just to join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan party of chanting and dancing. Some or other he was able to escape, and let's see. Yeah, so around 1518 in Puri, then he had managed to escape, and he became the personal assistant and secretary of Lord Chaitanya. Yeah, he becomes a servant of Swarup Damodar, his most intimate secretary. Yeah. So then actually some big transformation happens with Raghunath Das Goswami. He starts becoming very austere. He starts eating very, less and less opulent. And in the end, you probably all heard this story about Raghunath Das Goswami, that he's extremely humble, and in the end he is practically only the remnants of the remnants. At least the story, I think that's also from the Chaitanya Bhagavat or Chaitanya Charitamrita, is that Raghunath Das Goswami, he gradually became more and more austere in his eating, and in the end, he didn't even eat the thrown away prasadam. He ate the prasadam that the cows, who eats the leftovers, the cows didn't accept that prasadam. Then Raghunath Das Goswami would eat that. And at one point, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and saw him eat these remnants that the cows even didn't want to accept outside of Jagannath Puri temple. And he said, "You're eating such a great feast. Why haven't you invited me?" And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu joined him in eating these remnants. So in other words, Raghunath Das Goswami, he got the full mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And that's why he's known as one of the 6 Goswamis. Yeah, let's check the chat here. See. Just log in here to see if we got some message on the chat. So you also have time to digest what we spoke about. See. Yeah. Okay, here's the new. We got some message from Aruna, is the heart sound. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Hare Krishna to you. Very good. Oh, he says Hare Krishna to Sanatani. Yeah, very good. So at least now I can read all the chat messages. Yeah. See. Yeah. So in the end, he just took a few cups of buttermilk every day. We talked about Raghunath Das Goswami, how he became more and more renounced. He's the first Goswami we're mentioning out of the 6 Goswamis. This picture of him. And he became extremely renowned, even though he was born in a rich family. So we see here, even though he is also famous for doing offering the obeisances. He offered obeisances to 2,000 devotees a day and 100 times to Lord Chaitanya every day. He would spend 22 hours a day chanting the whole name and eat and sleep for less than 1 hour and a half. Yeah, so he was most austere. Yeah, and Krishnadas Kaviraj heard from him, which we mentioned before. Krishnadas Kaviraj is the author of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yeah, and then we have Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So very little is known about him, because he told Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami not to write about him in Chaitanya Charitamrita. There are a few great Gaudiya Vaishnavas who actually asked the people who wrote books to not be mentioned. So that's why there is not so much known about them. But this much we know about Gopal Bhatta Goswami, that he was one of the 6 Goswamis. He was a great empowered devotee. Yeah. He got instructed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go to Vrindavan, meet Rupa and Sanatan. Rupa and Sanatan, you can say, are the 2 main Goswamis instructed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in turn, they instructed the other Goswamis. Yeah. First it was Rupa and Sanatana, which was instructed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then Rupa and Sanatana, they instructed Gopal Bhatta Goswami, they instructed, Raghunath Das Goswami, they instructed, Jiva Goswami, like that. So let's see about Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Yeah. Well, he was probably quite young when he served Lord Chaitanya for the first time, for 4 months, and then he decided to become a Gaudiya Vaishnava. He has a dream, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he's instructing him. He reveals his true identity. Otherwise, in other words, Lord Chaitanya, he reveals that he is Krishna, and he instructs Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Yeah. He is one of the most important religious scholars. You have the Radha Raman temple in Vrindavan, where Gopal Bhatta Goswami is he's behind that, because it was Gopal Bhatta Goswami who had the deity appear in front of him. Yeah, the Radha Raman deity. Yeah, very small deity, just 12 inches in height. Most beautiful. I've been in that temple myself a couple of times. Radha Raman temple in Vrindavan, one of the most famous temples in the whole Vrindavan, and if not the most famous. He was also instructing, very much in the deity worship, Gopal Bhatta Goswami. He was also one of the persons behind the Hari Bhakti Vilas, a very important book left by the 6 Goswamis. It was Sanatana Goswami who is the official author, but Gopal Bhatta Goswami is said to have, to be a main influence of that book also. He wrote the Satkriya Saradipika, which are the rituals mainly for the Grihastha ashram. These rituals are usually 10 main samskaras, but for Vaishnavas these have been made specifically, with specific mentioning Vaishnava saints, Vaishnava devotees in the mantras, instead of the classical Vedic rituals where you mention so many demigods. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he reshaped, these rituals in a more, you could say, more, devotional, mellow way than, the Vedic rituals were before. So Vaishnavas is using it, Satkriya Saradipika. Yeah. So, let's see. Yeah. Yeah, so let's see, we can see something more about Gopal Bhatta Goswami. He was a very learned scholar, of course. He also was studying under Prabhudanandana Saraswati in Vrindavan. He was very close to Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, so he became known as the younger brother of them. I don't know if it was actually family linked, I'm not sure about that. But he was practically like the younger brother of Rupa and Sanatana. So here is also mentioned again the books which I mentioned, Satkriya Saradipika, about the spiritual rituals for grihastas, to keep the grihastas or make the grihastas fully immersed in Vaishnavism in their daily life by these samskaras. Samskara Dipika is another book that is for sannyas, order of life. Hari Bhaktivilas, as I also mentioned, Sanatana Goswami is the official author, but Gopal Bhatta Goswami probably did most of that. How to live as the devoted Vaishnava behavior, deity worship, and how to observe festivals and celebrations such as marriage. Yeah. So the Radharaman deity was manifested to him. It's a very prominent deity in Vrindavan. So then the next Goswami is Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. So we previously mentioned Raghunath Das Goswami. So this is the Bhatta Goswami. So he was the son of Tapan Mishra, famous devotee from Chaitanya Lila. So only 9 years old, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he visited Tapan Mishra's house. Tapan Mishra got full mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was visiting Tapan Mishra, then also the son Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, he was there, and he was lucky to wash Lord Chaitanya's dishes and get to massage Lord Chaitanya's legs. So he got the mercy directly of the lotus feet of Chaitanya. Yeah. So at that time he, of course, became filled with devotion for Chaitanya. So he went when he was 20 years old to Puri, because that was the place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed as a sannyasi. Yeah. After he took sannyasi, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu promised his mother, Satyamata, that he would stay at Puri, because Puri was not so far away from Navadvip, where his mother was staying. Well, it is a little distance, but somehow or other it's reachable, so his mother could get to know the news about him, and sometimes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was, she could go there and see him, or he could see her, like that. So Raghunath Bhatta Goswami traveled to Puri, and he served Lord Chaitanya for 9 months. There he was a great cook. He was asked to study Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. That is also one of the things about Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Which are the main books of the Gaudiya Vaishnavism? Now we mentioned, the books of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas themselves. But, previously, before Gaudiya Vaishnavism was manifested, all the books were, there. And the 2 main books is Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. Especially Bhagavatam is often cited in Chaitanya Lila. It makes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dance and even faint in ecstasy. Some verses from Bhagavatam was chanted, and he would be very ecstatic, so much so that sometimes he even lost his consciousness. So needless to say, the Srimad Bhagavatam is most prominent in the Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And that's the main work also of Srila Prabhupada, to translate Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. I just got the lamp from the puja is going on for Shishi Nitai Gaura Chandra in the background here. If you hear the ringing of the bell. Yeah. So so he was ordered to go to Vrindavan, chant Hare Krishna and read Srimad Bhagavatam. He was behind the construction of Govinda temple in Vrindavan. He's known, as I mentioned, for his great cooking, also for his singing and Srimad Bhagavatam recitation, all appreciated by Lord Chaitanya. Now, he could sing each Srimad Bhagavatam verse in 3 or 4 different melodies. So if you remember from our if you were there on our Sanskrit basic course, verses are chanted in something called chandas. So we just had very basic going through of that. I also don't know much about these different meters. I mean, we have learned, just the basic meters here in Iskcon. The most basic one is for Anushtup, which is a meter of 8 syllables per line, or called pada. 8 syllables per pada is the Anushtup meter, just as, the verses in Bhagavad Gita are mostly in Anushtup. So this is like a melody. Sarvadharmam parityajya mamekam sharanam vrajaham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. But you can also say another melody on the same, Anushtup meter. You can have this. Sarvadharmam parityajya mamekam sharanam vrajaham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. So now you heard 2 different melodies for the same meter, right? So in Bhagavatam you have, a few more meters. There is Anushtup is also there, but there is also Trishtup, one with 11 syllables per pada. So that is also going, in a different melody, of course. That can be sung like, I can give an example here. So for example, the famous verse from Bhagavatam 7.5.30, Shri Prahlad Maharaj says, Matirina Krishna parato svatova mito vipadyeta griha vratanam adanta gobir vishatam tamishram puna punashcharvita charvananam. This is a 3-shtup meter, and one of the familiar songs for that meter, which is in the Srimad Bhagavatam. But imagine if you can sing this, in another song, same meter. I don't know any other song for that meter. But here we learn that Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, he could have 3 or 4 different melodies for these Bhagavatam verses. That's quite impressive. Yeah. So in other words, he was a very good singer and had a great musical ear. Yeah. Let's go on to Jiva Goswami, the great prolific writer. He was the biggest writer of all the Vaishnava saints, all the Goswamis. Maybe he's actually the greatest writer in all Gaudiya Vaishnava history. He said he was writing a lot of commentaries to all the different books. He for example, he wrote a commentary to the Brahma Samhita, wrote a commentary to the whole Srimad Bhagavatam, called the Krama Sandarbha. He wrote commentaries, to Rupa Goswami's works, like that. He had a good hand for writing, and he was blessed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to do that. Yeah, just like you have Haridas Thakur, he was blessed to chant. Did Haridas Thakur write any books? Not as far as I know, but he was chanting more than anybody else. And in the same way, you don't learn that Jiva Goswami was sitting chanting 24 hours a day, but he was writing probably most of the day. Yeah. So he's the greatest philosopher, Srila Prabhupada said that Vaishnavas are the best philosophers, and of all of them, the best was Jiva. Yeah, he was the youngest of the six Goswamis. Yeah, when his father died, Anupama, and Jiva Goswami became very determined in spiritual life. He became very learned. So he became more serious in life after his father died. Yeah. His mother died by the time he was 20. So he was on his own. He went to Navadvip, met Nityananda, and visited all the holy places with him. Yeah. So under Nityananda's patronage, he studied in Benares, in the Madhusudan Chaspati, a great learned scholar in Benares. And he learned, all the Sanskrit, everything there. So today, in the memory of Jiva Goswami's, learning in Benares, there is a whole department now for studying Jiva Goswami's works. Yeah. So he joined the Rupa and Sanatana Goswami in Vrindavan on the order of Nityananda Prabhu. He got trained up by Rupa and Sanatana Goswami in the Gaudiya Vaishnava, mood and mission. So he became the initiated disciple of Rupa Goswami. Yeah. Yeah. So there is a famous story about how Rupa and Sanatan. There was a Digvijay Pandit. Digvijay Pandit was a famous. Sometimes in the old days there were these great pandits or learned scholars who would travel all around the country to have debates and like to defeat others. So Rupa and Sanatan couldn't be bothered for this, since they were only into devotion to Krishna. So they just signed a certificate that yes, we have been defeated by you. Please move on to the next one. Of course, they could actually they were able to defeat these pandits because they were the greatest scholars of the time. But they didn't bother. So, but Jiva, being a disciple of Rupa, when he heard this news that this Digvijay Pandit boasting that he had defeated Rupa and Sanatana, he wanted to show that this is not really true. They just so he showed actually we are better. So he was using 7 days to debate with this Pandit, and he finally defeated him. But Rupa was not very happy to hear that. He told Jiva Goswami, "You wasted your time for this. This is just your big ego." So he banished him from Vrindavan just to teach him a lesson. So Jiva Goswami became very morose. He went to Mathura, lived under a tree, and he ate just once a day like that. And Sanatan then he told Rupa that there is a saying, a Vaishnava saying that there are two things a devotee should do. It should be Nama Seva, serve the whole name, and then Jiva Doya. So chant the whole name and have mercy to the others, to all living entities. And Sanatan told Rupa Goswami, "You're not practicing Jiva Doya." Of course, Jiva is the name of his disciple. So then Rupa Goswami he went and he again accepted Jiva Goswami back. Yeah. So Jiva Goswami became known as the most systematic preacher. So now this is the thing we'll talk about a little bit later. Jiva Goswami organized. He was the first person to organize what we now know as book distribution. And he had a few students, which he taught about Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, and also he instructed them to bring books to Bengal and Orissa. Yeah. Books which were, there was no printing press at that time, as far as I understand, they were handwritten. But to be actually sold, or spread, distributed. Very important mission, so that, still today, the books of Jiva Goswami are extant. They are available because of this, great endeavor to get them, mass-produced and distributed. And including, in these books are also, of course, included the books of Rupa Goswami. Yeah. So these three disciples who did that, they were Srinivas Acharya was one of them, and then Narottam Das Thakur and Shyamananda. Yeah, these are the three main disciples of Jiva, who preached far and wide in India, and also helped to bring all these books, spread them in Bengal and Orissa. So it said here also that Jiva Goswami supervised the construction of the Radha Damodar temple, one of the most famous temples in Vrindavan. And that's also a famous temple where Srila Prabhupada was staying for a long time, for many years, when he had sannyas there, before he went to America. Yeah, so here it says he wrote over 400,000 verses. So that amounts to the amount of verses we have in the 18 Upanishads. 18 main Upanishads, there are something like 400,000 verses all in all. So Jiva Goswami wrote just as much, so he wrote enormously. Yeah. Sat Sandarbha is the most important. So Sat means six. So the 6 books, 6 Sandarbhas. Sandarbhas means a great exposition of philosophy. So that's what they are. They are known as the Tattva Sandarbha, Bhagavat Sandarbha, Krishna Sandarbha, Priti Sandarbha. They go gradually higher and higher. Start with Tattva Sandarbha, just explaining very much basic, philosophy of, basically philosophy of what is knowledge at all, and how do you determine, and he's just establishing what is knowledge and what is the highest knowledge. And Srimad Bhagavatam is established there as the highest pramana, or evidence, like this. So very important works for anybody who like to understand our Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy in detail. Please study the Sat Sandarbhas. They're available now in English translations. So Rupa Goswami, as we talked very much about him on Sunday, we will not. You can look at the Nectar of Instruction introduction recording. There we practically spoke only about Rupa Goswami for 1.5 hours. Yeah, so he is he's the leader of all the Goswamis, of all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. He was the leader, specifically employed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he gave the two great jewel books that are the Bibles of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. There's the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and a very practical handbook for neophytes, which is the Upadeshamrita, Nectar of Instruction. Yeah. And he wrote many other books also. So let's see. So as we already heard, he is the brother of Sanatana Goswami. He was the older brother and Sanatana was the younger. Yeah. And we can see here that they also were known as Dabirka and Sakara Malik. Dabirkas and Sakara Malik. They were working as ministers in the Muslim government. They were forced to do that. And because of that, some Brahmins, they were rejecting them. Because, to work under somebody else and take payment is not Brahminical. Brahmin is supposed to be independent. Only accepts, donations. Patan, yarjan, dana, pratigraha. Yeah. He can also give gifts. He's doing the deity worship. He's offering food. He distributes the prasad to others. And he accepts donations. And he's patan. He's studying himself and he teaches all others also. He's helping others to study. Yarjan, he's doing worship, and he's also teaching others to worship, or he's doing worship on behalf of others. For example, a Brahmana, he can make the ceremonies for others, the samskaras such as marriage. So this is the activities of a Brahmana. And payment, that's only donations. He's not working for others, doing what others tell him to do. No, he's doing everything as a service, freely. So that's why I said that Brahmanas are also known as, they can even be anarchistic. But because of their purity, they are they're not sinful. Even though they anarchistic has a can sound like not so very nice, but when a Brahmana is anarchistic, it's actually good, because they are the lovers of truth. So they will you cannot bribe a Brahmana. That's the idea, because he has higher taste. He has taste from his spiritual practice, so he's not after the worldly taste. He will not be bribed by money or anything else. So he can speak the truth for the benefit of others. That's the idea. Yeah. So then, if a Brahmana is working for the government or for somebody getting paid, this is sounds like that Brahmana has become now corrupted. So in that way, from the Brahmana community, it's been explained that they were ostracized when they were taken into the service. But of course, they were still were most exalted Brahmanas of all, which we learn. They joined Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they spread the highest philosophy of Gaudiya Vaishnavism in the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Achintya Bheda Bheda philosophy, which is simultaneously oneness and difference. It means the living entity, Jiva, is at the same time part of the Lord's energy, and at the same time is different from the Lord's energy in the way that we're all individuals. We're small, microscopically small, and the Lord is enormous. So this is explained also very simply as Surya Amsha Kirana, Krishna Surya, Surya Sama. So Krishna is like the sun, and we are like parts of Krishna, like parts of the sun, just like sun rays. Yeah. So this has been explained by Rupa Goswami and the other Goswamis also, this philosophy. So they were highly learned. Yep. So here we can see they worked in the Navab Bhushan Shah, Emperor of Gauda. So there we have it, Gauda. Yep. We call it Gaudiya Vaishnavas. That's where it all happened. The whole Leela with Krishna. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Shri Gadadhar, Shivas, and Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, 6 Goswamis, all happened in Gaudiya. Gauda, yeah. So that's why it's called Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Yeah. So yeah, of course they knew Sanskrit and they know local dialects. They were very learned, and they wrote enormous amount of books. They had several Brahmins working under them. So it's explained that, say you have maybe over 10 Brahmins, and Rupa Goswami was just dictating, and one Brahmin was writing, and he dictates the next sentence to another Brahmin and another, and all of them are writing like one after one after one. So in other words, they were speaking so quick, all the verses of their books, that needed 10 Brahmins to write down. It's not enough with just one. Okay, so they heard about Lord Chaitanya and Puri and wrote him letters for help. Yeah, because they wanted to, escape from their service to the Muslims. They rather wanted to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Their service to the governors, it was just it's a material job, and they were forced to do it. So of course they wanted to escape. Yeah. So Lord Chaitanya, he helped them. They begged for the Lord's mercy. Yeah. They met Lord Chaitanya at one point, incognito. Yeah. And he gave them initiation with their new names, Rupa and Sanatan, at that time. Yeah, that was in Ramakeli. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, so somehow or other, Rupa Goswami, he got permission to leave the government service. Sanatan Goswami, he did not get permission, so Sanatan Goswami had to escape. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah. So Rupa Goswami was first, you can say, to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly, as Sanatana Goswami was still caught up in the service to the government before he was able to escape. So Rupa was meeting Lord Chaitanya. As far as I know, is in Prayag, and at this place called Dash Ashvamedha Ghat. Yeah. The ashram is 10, and for 10 days he was instructed. Lord Chaitanya instructed Rupa Goswami for 10 days, and in that way Rupa Goswami became empowered to write the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It is the Bible for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Yeah. And he also actually gave Rupa Goswami 4 tasks, as we also explained on the Sunday when we talked about nectar introduction, because it's Rupa Goswami's book. So Rupa Goswami, he was ordered to find back all the holy places in Vrindavan, to excavate them, and 2, to write the Bhakti Shastras, Hare Krishna, Jai, and 3, to establish temples of Radha Krishna, and also establish the deity worship, and 4, to preach vehemently himself the science of Bhakti Yoga. Yeah. So he did also a great work in making 2 plays, Vidagda Madhava, and which is about Vrindavan pastimes of Krishna, and Lalita Madhava, which is the Dwarka pastimes. So in that way, it said that Rupa Goswami, he gave us a window to the spiritual world. Actually, he gave us all the information. And you have also these books, like, what's this book? Radha Krishna Ganodesha Deepika, which is a who's who of Vrindavan. You have, all the different persons in Vrindavan, and their background history. So you can know who is who. Just like you have the Gora Ganodesha Deepika. Ganodesha Deepika, it means like you have Gana, it means like all the people. So all the people in the Gaura Lila are mentioned there, and there is explained, who are these people in the Gaura Lila, in the Krishna Lila. So for example, it's mentioned there that this one, what was the name, this physician in Chaitanya's Lila, this doctor, who was close to Chaitanya, he was actually, I forgot the name now, but he was actually, Hanuman. You know the story? He was Hanuman, in the Rama Lila. And then another one is Prahlad Maharaj. And now they're in the Chaitanya Lila. So that's explained in Gora Ganodesh Deepika. And similarly in the Radha Krishna Ganodesh Deepika, it's explained all the backstories, who is who, what are they actually, and how did they come there. Yeah. Rupa Goswami, he has many, you can say, smaller books, and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is one of his biggest books. Yeah, and he has this, Dana Kele Kaumudi is like the book about how Krishna is playing. He has different leelas. What is that again? I think it's something like Krishna is he's like a businessman. Krishna is asking them to pay to pass through. What do you call that? Like a guardian. They have to give their ornaments and like that to Krishna. Yeah. So this has been explained, this lila by Rupa Goswami. And then Lago Bhagavatamrita, the small Bhagavatamrita. Now the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, that was given by his brother Sanatana Goswami. Brihad Bhagavatamrita is maybe more famous. This book, it was translated by Gopi Paranadhanana Prabhu in Iskcon. It explains, Gopa Kumar, his travel through the whole universe and back to Krishna Loka, and how he meets different levels of devotees. The next devotee is more exalted than the previous, like that. Lago Bhagavatamrita is so both of these books are, you can say, comments on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. They're expanding on the topics of Bhagavatam. So Lago Bhagavatamrita is speaking a lot about what it speaks about. I don't remember it. I haven't studied very much, but something about the different incarnations of the Lord, the different yugas, technical things like manvantaras. Yeah. So it goes into detail of many interesting topics. So Rupa Goswami is an amazing author, in other words. Let's see. And let's see, go to Sanatana Goswami, brother Rupa Goswami. Sanatana was attracted to logic, philosophy, and Srimad Bhagavatam from the very beginning. Yeah, it's actually described, that both Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, even before they met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were already, into, Bhagavatam, and, they were already, Vaishnavas. They already started, Rupa Goswami already started writing, before even meeting, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Sanatana Goswami also, he was already a great scholar and devotee. And charitable, he will donate something every day. So when they heard about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they immediately wanted to join him. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so Sanatana Goswami was not... Rupa Goswami was allowed to leave his service for the Muslim magistrate, Navabhushan Shah in Gaudiya district. Sanatana was not allowed to leave, so what did Sanatana Goswami do? He faked to be sick. Yeah, he said, "I'm sick, I'm sorry, I cannot go to work." So instead, he was sitting at his home and he was studying with the Brahmanas. So as I already explained, Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, they were dictating, verses. And they could have something like 10 Brahmanas, and each Brahmana will get some Sanskrit shlokas and Sanskrit words, and they will write down. And then they gave to the next Brahmana, just going in the round. So now when the last Brahmana was finished writing, then he would turn to the first one again, and again give some new Sanskrit to that person. So they were so productive, in other words, that they needed 10 Brahmanas to, work for them. So, in other words, masterminds. Yeah. So just imagine the face of the Nawab, or actually he sent his physician, his doctor, to say, is really Sanatana Goswami sick? And just imagine the reaction of the physician when he opened the door, and he sees Sanatana Goswami sitting there instructing 10 Brahmanas, very busy, with shastras all over. So he didn't look very sick. He looked actually very, very well, very, enlightened and fresh. So in that way, he immediately, the physician immediately, calls the Nawab to imprison him. So Sanatana Goswami was imprisoned, but of course he managed to escape. He had a clever plan. It's a long story. It's detailed in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's a very nice story. Let's see. So finally, Sanatana Goswami is able to meet Lord Chaitanya in Varanasi, in Benares. Yeah. So Sanatana Goswami becomes very renounced, just like Rupa Goswami also became. They had a good paycheck working as ministers for the Muslim government, actually. But now, they became, Goswamis, renounced. Okay, just sorry, we just disconnected a little bit. It was just some wrong thing with the OBS studio we're using for streaming. Now it's back on. Okay, good. Yeah, I'll just check my chat here to see if we got some reaction. Yeah. No, there is no more chat messages. Let's see. Well, I hope it still works. Yeah. Okay, so where were we? Yeah, so Sanatana Goswami, he just became very humble and renounced as a servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then he says his famous utterance, Keami Lokakshay. I mean, he says, Keami, who am I? Because actually, who am I? That's a very important question, because somebody had said about Sanatana Goswami that he's so learned, he's so Paka, great Brahmana, this and that. But Sanatana Goswami just said, but who am I? People say I'm such a great Brahmana and I so learned, but I don't even know who I am. That's a very great utterance, because it means really that it doesn't help, we can have all the knowledge in the world, even shastric knowledge, even devotional knowledge. But the moment we forget who we are still, in the illusory energy, and we have lost, our devotional service to Krishna. So that's why there is a great call for humility in that utterance by Sanatana Goswami for all of the Vaishnavas, to never forget. We have to be humble. My Guru Maharaj said, he said about this, that he said, my Guru Maharaj was sometimes, quite clear about this. He said, I want to see a genuine humility, my Guru Maharaj said. And he said, it's an order, it's not a request. Of course, if we really want to enter back in the Lord's, abode, it doesn't mean to be, killing oneself completely. I mean, killing. I'm sorry, selvutslettelse it's called in Norwegian. That one ceases to exist, to just wipe out one's existence. It doesn't mean that. It just means to wipe out, the material pride. On another place, it's mentioned actually devotees can be proud of being a devotee. So even this pride can actually be used in devotional service. Yeah. Because, the other example is that you have many examples of this. Devotees, when neophyte, they are so humble that they're not able to do nothing, right? Just like a doormat, yeah? Anybody can just step on them. So we shouldn't misunderstand this. I heard once one of our Swamis in Iskcon said, it doesn't mean to think less of yourself, it means to think of yourself less, that we don't think so much about ourselves. We think more about Krishna and Krishna's devotees. Yeah. Otherwise, the whole humility thing just becomes another exercise in the mode of ignorance. Yeah. So, anyway, of course, that being said, if one actually becomes materially very proud, of course, then Krishna will probably help us, to again get back, to the proper, mood and mission of Vaishnava. Yeah. So the Lord instructed Sanatana Goswami for 2 months, and ordered Sanatana Goswami to write books, excavate holy sites, and establish temples. So this Sanatana Goswami, he did that together with Rupa Goswami in Vrindavan. They did a great job. When they came to Vrindavan, it was just a jungle. There were a few citizens there, great saintly people, but not very much. So a few, holy places of Krishna were known, but they were not very, available for others to see. So they made pilgrimage places out of these holy places, and they found, they excavated a lot of holy places, following, the writings in the books which were available at that time, and also they heard from the local people. And so, if you go to Vrindavan now, you see so many pastime places of Krishna everywhere. The place where Krishna killed, the Bakasura demon, and the place where Krishna was dancing on the hoods of Kaliya. Under this tree Krishna was sitting, and so on. So it's a great place to go to be reminded of Krishna, and we can all thank Rupa and Sanatana Goswami for that. Yeah. So now actually we were finished already 10 minutes ago, but this subject is so vast, so I think we'll dare to go on maybe all until 8 o'clock, or we'll stop a little bit before 8 if we're able. Because I was supposed to talk about 6 Goswamis, and to talk about the great, those who shaped the Gaudiya Vaishnava history. It should actually be done in 2 parts. We went now at least through the 6 Goswamis. Let's see. So just the last thing about Sanatana Goswami, he established, as far as I understand, the first temple in Vrindavan, the Radha Madan Mohan temple. Yeah. And of the 6 Goswamis, then you have Sanatana Goswami. He is representing Sambandha Jnana, and that's his deity also is representing that, Radha Madan Mohan deity. And Rupa Goswami, he represents Abhideya Jnana, and he also had a deity. I forgot the name of the deity, but it's also Radha Krishna deity, representing Abhideya Jnana. And Raghunath Das Goswami, he also had a set of deities representing Prayojana Jnana. Yeah. So Sambandha Jnana is, the basic knowledge about the relationship, represented by Bhagavad Gita, ABC. Abhideya is, Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, about the activities of devotional service, how to, act as a devotee. And Raghunath Das Goswami, he actually represents the Prayojana, means, the ecstasy of the spontaneous devotion, as in Chaitanya Charitamrita, with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Yeah. Yeah, so books by Sanatana Goswami, as we mentioned, he was having the Hari Bhakti Vilas together with Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and Brihad Bhagavatamrita, and he has also a Srimad Bhagavatam commentary. Yeah. And the place where Shri Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami formerly lived has now become a place of pilgrimage. It's generally known as Gupta Vrindavan or Hidden Vrindavan. Yeah. So one can go to Vrindavan and get more acquainted with the lives of the 6 Goswamis there. We'll just talk about a few great Vaishnava saints quickly, because they're also very important. As I mentioned, Jiva Goswami had the 3 disciples which he empowered to do the first book distribution in the history of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So Jiva Goswami, he was a great prolific writer. He wrote so many books. And Rupa Goswami also wrote, Sanatana Goswami also wrote. So it was important to preserve these books. And Jiva Goswami arranged that these were handwritten, copied. At that time there was no printers, as far as I understand. Was the printing press already existing in the 1500s? Wasn't it in the West? I think Gutenberg. But somehow or other it didn't appear in the West Bengal, I guess. So, but there were scribes, people who had as a profession to just copy Sanskrit literature. They were there. So they had like a huge carriage to transport these 3 acharyas, Shyamalanda Prabhu, Srinivas Acharya, and Narottam Das Thakur. They got that job from Jiva Goswami, and they transported these to Bengal and to Orissa. That was a great task. And in that way, they have made sure that these books were again copied later, from there, and they've been nicely preserved. That's why we have all these books still here now, from Jiva Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and other Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas. It's a great, gold mine. Probably he wanted these books to be translated to English. And a lot of them has been translated. The most important of them has been translated. Still, there are many left, as far as I have heard. Yeah. Okay, so Srinivas, yeah. So let's see. He is the embodiment of Lord Chaitanya's ecstasy. Yeah, he said here. Yeah. Lord Chaitanya, he predicted when Srinivas was born, he said, through Rupa and Sanatan, I manifested the wonderful devotional literatures, the Bhakti Shastras. And through Srinivas, I will distribute those Shastras. Yeah. Just like you have now in Iskcon, you have book distributors. Yeah. Those who are especially dedicated to print. We have the BBT division to print, Prabhupada's books, and then others who actually sell them on the street. Yeah. Gaura Chandra Ki. And in the same way, Srinivas was empowered to start that. Yeah. So, so Srinivas traveled to Puri. He was also a great educated person. He went to Puri to meet Lord Chaitanya, but he came too late. Lord Chaitanya had already departed. But there he met Gadadhar Pandit. He was still there. Ramananda Roy, Sarabhama Pandit, and other associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he could get to know all the knowledge he needed to be trained up as a Gaudiya Vaishnava devotee. He visited all the places in Puri of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. So as I mentioned, Lord Chaitanya, he's 24 last years. He lived for 48 years. Last 24 years of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life, he was renounced. Yeah, he was married, and he has his childhood, youthhood, and married life until he was 24. So almost abruptly he became a sannyas at 24, and that his last 24 years he was living in a renounced or life. And how many years he was in Puri? Maybe his last, something like 10 years. Yeah. Or maybe even 16 years. I don't remember. So he was there for a great deal of time. And as far as I understand, his last years he didn't even travel and preach to others. He just was immersed in his own ecstasy, just with a few confidential associates. So there are a few places there in Puri which are, marked by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and devotees can go and see them and be inspired to hear the stories. Yeah. So when he came to Puri, he was supposed to be instructed by Gadadhar. So Gadadhar, as we explained, he was in the Pancha Tattva, he was the incarnation of the Bhakti Shakti. Yeah. Bhakti Rupa Swarupakam. I mentioned the Pancha Tattva. Yeah, as the first thing about Gaudiya Vaishnavism is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, and then the Pancha Tattva is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu together with his 4 associates. Pancha Tattva Atmakam Tattvam. Pancha Tattva Atmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhakta Avataram Bhakta Akyam Namame Bhakti Shaktikam. So the Bhakti Shakti is represented by Gadadhar Pandit. He is the incarnation of the Shakti of Srimad Radharani. Yeah. And Bhakta Akya, that is Shivas. He's representing the Jiva in the Pancha Tattva. The others are direct, Tattva, directly from the Lord. So that is Bhakta Avataram. That was Advaita Acharya. He's in incarnation of the devotee. And Bhakta Rupa and Swarupa. That Bhakta Rupa is Chaitanya himself, as I explained also in the very beginning. He takes the form of a devotee, because as you know, it's actually Krishna. So Krishna is actually not his own devotee. He is Krishna, right? But he plays the role of his own devotee. That's why he's called Bhakta Rupa. And Swarupakam, in the expansion of the devotee, because when Krishna expands himself, he becomes Balaram. And Balaram is actually the first devotee in the existence. So he says the first Dasya Rasa, or Dasya Bhava, or to be a servant, it is there in Balaram. And all the expansions of Balaram are all the other devotees in the existence. So that means that every living entity has that possibility to be a Dasya, because it comes from Balaram, who has expanded into the material world also. Like that. So he guides us home as the Guru. Nityananda is also the same as Balaram. And Balaram is, the Guru. He's representing the Guru. Yeah. So in that way we have the Pancha Tattva. So Gadadhar was there in Puri. Now Lord Chaitanya had just left. You know the story? They were serving in the Tota Gopinath temple. Gadadhar was the pujari there. Tota Gopinath temple in Puri, Jagannath Puri. And there is an opening in one. Is a Krishna deity there? I don't know. Is it Radha Krishna? It's just Krishna alone. Is it? Maybe. So there is it's like a crack in the knee of the Tota Gopinath deity, and apparently inside this crack, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just disappeared. And Gadadhar, he was left there, and he was of course missing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu so much. And they explained he was just mourning. So he was supposed to instruct, Srinivas, who came there, but he wasn't able to give any instruction because he was just crying. And after a few days, they couldn't find Gadadhar also. So they think that he also left he also merged into the Tota Gopinath deity. Yeah. Yeah. So Srinivas, he went and he met all the Vaishnavas there. And he became disciple of Gopal Bhatta Goswami and studied under Jiva Goswami. Yeah, as I mentioned, he studied under Jiva Goswami together with Narottam Das Thakur and Shyamananda. Yeah. Yeah. So Jiva Goswami was very happy with Srinivas, and he gave him the title Srinivas Acharya. Yeah, because he was such a great student. Yeah. So he meets and becomes friends with Narottam and Shyamananda, also called Dukhi Krishnadas. He was called Dukhi Krishnadas before. This is the story how he became Shyamananda afterwards. Yeah. So Rupa Sanatan and Janava Devi were concerned about the need for literary support in Bengal. Yeah. How to arrange the distribution of all these great books. They were writing books like ending, as you know. They were instructed, Nana Shastra Vicharaneka Nipuno Sadharma Samstapako, Vandarupa Sanatano, Raghuligo, Shijiva Gopalako. We have this Shad Goswami Ashtaka, yeah? This song about the 6 Goswamis. And it's one of the main, verses there is Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipuno. They were very Nipuno, very expert in the Shastras. Dharma Samstapako, they were instructed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to establish Dharma very properly, the Vaishnava Dharma. So they were writing more books than any others on the planet, before or after really. So together they wrote more than the 18 Puranas. Jiva alone, he wrote as much as the 18 Puranas, over 400,000 verses. So in other words, we have a lot of literature here which needs to be shared and distributed. There were I don't know if there were bookshops a lot around at that time. So somewhere or other, there were no printing presses. How to do it? The Rupa Sanatana and Janavadevi. Who is Janavadevi? She was the wife of Nityananda. She also became a great guru. So don't say that it's not possible to be a female guru in Gaudiya Vaishnavism. She was a great guru after Nityananda Prabhu left. Yeah. So all of these, they were really concerned about that. So the Goswamis of Vrindavan chose these 3 to distribute the books of those Goswamis in Bengal, a task which they eagerly accepted. So Jiva arranged the mission, and we will not go through all this because we don't have time, unfortunately. But anyway, we'll go to Narottam Das Thakur. So I also mentioned about Narottam briefly on the Sunday when we talked about Rupa Goswami, and that was that Narottam he was predicted by Lord Chaitanya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing in kirtan, and he was calling Narottam, Narottam, and he was visiting this bank of the Padma River to deposit the treasure of love of Godhead into that river. He was shouting Narottam, and he was by this river like that. And later on, maybe it was something like 100 years later, or maybe shorter. I thought it was 100 years, but maybe I'm wrong. Then Narottam Das Thakur, he is there. Before he's famous as Narottam Das, and somewhere or other he's bathing in that river. And after bathing, he's completely, empowered and ecstatic. He picks up, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left there many years before. It's an amazing story. And then he became known as an amazing preacher of, Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So he's known for having, all these great songs. And one of the songs we sing every day is Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma Bandhu Mui Savadhanamad. He sings a great song, the Guru Vandana song, which we have for the Guru Puja. And he has many other songs. He has a songbook called Prarthana. So and his songs are I think they're a little bit in the same style as Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It's very much like he's condemning himself. He has this, for example, Hari Hari Bipale Janama Gunainu Manushya Dhanma Jarya. He says, I wasted my whole life, Bishaka, I'm drinking poison, I wasted my life, he says. Instead of worshipping Radha Krishna Naibaya, Bishaka, instead of worshipping Radha Krishna, I've been drinking poison. I wasted my whole life. Hari Hari Adipale. He has this kind of, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur has the same kind of songs where he's saying, I wasted my human life, I should have just worshipped Radha Krishna and become immersed in Krishna Bhakti. Because it's a very great humility. So at 12 years old, Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu appeared to Narottam Das Thakur in a dream and commanded him to collect the prema which was left in the custody of the river Padma. Yeah, so that's the story I told them. That's the fourth story, that actually in the dream they came. And then he went to this river Padma and he bathed there. Yeah. So he got after touching getting in contact with that river, his bodily complexion it also turned gold, and his whole personality became different. Isn't that the great story? He also became like golden, just like Lord Chaitanya, and started preaching in ecstasy. Yeah. So he just his parents thought he was sick and they locked him up, and he just wanted to escape his worldly life and go to Vrindavan. He suffered months of sleepless lamentation. So the first chance he got, he just ran to Vrindavan, you know. Just, yeah. Traveling quickly, he ran so quick he got boils on his foot. Yeah. And he had to stop beneath a tree for 3 days. A brahmana leaves a pot of milk for him. He prayed to the Lord for direction and had a dream of Rupa and Sanatan, who told him to drink the milk and just go. He did and was healed. The boil under his heel was under his foot was healed, and he just kept on running into Vrindavan. And the guards, and the parents, they sent guards to catch him. It's a real nice story. But when the guards comes, Narottam Das Thakur is so full of Shakti, and he just convinces the guards, just go back, And the guard says, okay, we'll leave you. Yeah. So actually, Narottam Das Thakur was very happy to meet Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. They were still on the planet. And then, Jiva Goswami, he ordered him to take initiation from Lokanath Goswami. So that's why we have, in the Guru book, the Guru song, Guru Vandana, Lokanath Lokara Jivana, yeah? Lokanath. He's calling out to his Guru there. But Lokanath also means the leader of the people. Yeah. Yeah. So there are so many stories. We just go quickly now through to Shyamananda. It's called Dukhi Krishna Das. Yeah. So he also he heard about the glories of Gaura Nityananda, and he just wanted to go there. So he went to Gauda Desha, the area of Gauda. That's why it's called Gaudiya Vaishnavism, because it happened in Gauda. That's where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born. That's where all the pastimes of Chaitanya happened. So that's the place to be. So he went there, and he wanted to become Hridaya Chaitanya's disciple. Yeah, so I didn't speak about Hridaya Chaitanya, but he was famous from before, because you know why he was called Hridaya Chaitanya? Because he had the deities. That was after Gaurandita had passed away, as far as I remember. So he had deities now of Gaurandita, yeah. And some or other, they were dancing and chanting ecstasy in front of the deities. And how was that again? Some or other, the deities also started chanting or dancing. And so Gaurandita, they jumped into, I don't remember why, but some or other, they jumped into the heart of this Prabhu. And after that, he got the name Hridaya Chaitanya, because, Chaitanya entered his heart. Yeah. Yeah, it's completely inconceivable. Yeah. So Shyamananda Prabhu, he was called Dukhi Krishna, so he wanted to be a disciple. So Hridaya Chaitanya, he was pleased by his nice manner, and he gave the name Krishna Das. Yeah. So Hridaya Chaitanya sent him to Vrindavan to study, under Jiva Goswami. And Dukhi Krishna Das, he visited all the holy places. And he served, Jiva Goswami very nicely. And then we have a little story here. Let's see. So yeah, so he got so Shyamananda Prabhu, or Dukhi Krishna Das, as he was called, he was instructed by Jiva to sweep the forest grove of Sevakunj every day. Have you heard about Sevakunj? It's one of the most holy places in Vrindavan. Yeah. So it is a very holy place. I will not say more about that place. It's very special. Yeah. So he was there. He was supposed to sweep, cleaning there. Yeah. Every day. And he did it with very pleasure, and he was, crying, tears of ecstasy. He felt his life was perfect. Now he could do service at Sevakunj, in Vrindavan. And then he chanted, Radha Krishna's name, Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda. Yeah. And so Radha, she is pleased with Dukhi Krishna Das, and she appears before him. One day, while cleaning the kunja, Dukhi Krishna Das found a beautiful ankle bracelet. He picked it up to give it to whomever it belonged to. The Sakis were shocked the next morning when they noticed Srimati Radharani's left ankle bracelet missing. Radharani asked them to look for it around the kunj. Vishaka Devi came and asked Dukhi Krishna Das about the ankle bracelet. She told him she was a coward girl from from the nearby village, and that a new bride from her house lost the ankle bracelet the day before. Yeah. So she comes, in other words, in disguise. So Dukhi Krishna Das is just there, and he sees this coward girl coming and asking him, have you seen, ankle bracelet? Yep. And Dukhi Krishna Das, he became a little curious, and he said, I want to return his ankle bracelet to the original owner personally, instead of just giving it to you. Yeah. And so Vishaka Devi, she just went back and she brought Srimati Radharani. And Dukhi Krishna Das, he completely forgot himself while gazing at the unparalleled brilliant splendor of Srimati Radharani. In great joy, he handed the ankle bracelet to Vishaka. Vishaka told him, O best of the devotees, our Saki wants to give you a benediction to express her gratitude. Dukhi Krishna Das saw the holy waters of Radhakund before him and immersed himself in her waters. Yeah. So the holy waters of Radhakund were, there, manifested for him. And he bathed in that water. Yeah. And thus he attained a transcendental feminine form of a Saki. He offered prayers and fell down at Radha's lotus feet. Radharani decorated Dukhi Krishna Das' forehead with tilak using the ankle bracelet. So she took the ankle bracelet and put on Dukhi Krishna Das' forehead. So that's why Shyamananda, he has a very special tilak, a little different from our tilak. And actually he started, his own parampara like that. I guess it's still going on, I don't know. Yeah. So she had the ankle bracelet and kumkum dipping in, this yellow powder, or reddish powder actually. It's not the same as turmeric. Kumkum, yeah. And just if you are in India in Vrindavan like that, they offer the sellers, before you're going into some temples, they stand outside and you pay them and they can put on your head these marks. Yeah. So he got that directly from Radharani herself. And she said, this tilak will remain on your forehead. From today you will be known as Shyamananda. Yeah. Dukhi Krishna Das' trance broke and he found himself as before, alone and in his male body, yet with the tilak applied by Srimati Radharani still on his forehead. So he just woke up and but he has on his forehead this mark. So Jiva was elated. Jiva Goswami, he was amazed when he heard what had happened. But he said, don't reveal this blessed event to anyone. From today, just carry on with the name Shyamananda. The Vaishnavas naturally began to discuss this strange development amongst themselves, and the news finally reached Hridaya Chaitanya Prabhu, the guru of Shyamananda. And he became angry. He thought, his disciple was, becoming, a Sahaja or something fake. So he just set out for Vrindavan, to chastise his disciple. Yeah. And so he's coming there, and seeing his disciples tilak, because it was a different tilak than usually Vaishnavas are wearing. So he just rebuked him, and he went on his forehead and tried to wipe it off. I think I saw one time a play. Sometimes Vaishnavas devotees have had this as a theater play. And you see this Hridaya Chaitanya coming. He's touching the forehead and trying to wipe out, he cannot do it. Yeah. And then he even started beating him, he would just become frustrated. And Shyamananda, he simply tolerated all of it. And he continued just to serve his guru there, because this is actually said in Shastra. If your guru chastises you, you should just, never, argue with your guru, never, just, if a guru gives you something, it's all mercy, right? Yeah, so that night, Srimati Radharani herself appeared in a dream to Sri Hridaya Chaitanya Prabhu. And she chastised him in a dream. Why are you treating, my dear devotee in this way, beating him? And then the next morning, Hridaya Chaitanya, he just comes to Shyamananda and just begs for forgiveness. Yeah. The next morning he embraced Shyamananda again and again in great affection, repeating, you are so fortunate. So Hridaya Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he returned to Gaudiya, and Shyamananda, Srinivas and Shri Narottam passed their days blissfully studying the Goswami literature and begging a little to eat from door to door. Yeah. So then they do the book distribution and preaching mission. Yeah. So this is a long story. Yeah. So now we are soon finished. We are a little bit over time. But it doesn't matter. Nobody forces you to watch this on YouTube. You can go whenever you want. So if you like this, you can keep on watching. We are soon finished. Yeah. So because this Gaudiya Vaishnava history is not complete by not mentioning. We have to mention Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Because it's, I don't remember where I heard it, but it's somewhere in our Gaudiya Vaishnava literature. There is a prediction that some or other this Gaudiya Vaishnava treasure, of Chaitanya Prema, the whole mood of Gaudiya Vaishnavism were more or less kept covered for almost 400 years. It is a prediction about that, and that after 400 years it will again be revealed. So that happened with Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Around 400 years later, after Chaitanya appeared and had this lila, the Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he appears, and his enormous influence is what made actually this whole Gaudiya Vaishnavism go to the west. Yeah. So what did he do? It's explained here. He wrote over 100 books. He discovered appearance places of Lord Chaitanya in Gaudadesh. Yeah, and the appearance place of Lord Chaitanya. What's the name? You remember, Prabhu? Mm-hmm. What's the name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance place? Nadia. Huh? Nadia. Yeah, but his house, the temple there. It's just outside Mayapur. Yeah. Yeah, it's just outside Mayapur. So anyway, that's his appearance place. Actually, his appearance place is called Mayapur also. It is in Mayapur area. Yeah. So it's explained. He found that he was traveling together with Jagannath Das Babaji, and he was carrying Jagannath Das Babaji in a casket, because Jagannath Das Babaji was very old, almost 100 years, and he couldn't walk properly. So he was carrying him, but just to find a place. And when he came to that place, then, which was he heard that maybe it's this place, maybe it's that place. So he went to one place, and then Jagannath Das Babaji just jumped out of the basket and started dancing in ecstasy. This is the place. Yeah. So in that way they established that this is actually the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and indeed the neem tree was there because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born under the neem tree. So that holy place is there. Huh? Shridham Mayapur, that's our place, but the specific birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu you have to search for. Yeah, birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's true that Mayapur is a place like the common name, a huge place, but the specific house, where he was born, it has a name. Yeah. Okay, so the thing about Bhaktivinoda Thakur is very interesting because he shows for us how to be a person of the world and at the same time be a devotee. Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur, first of all, he was born in a family of intellectual people. Bengal has always been a place of the intellectuals, like brainy people who studies a lot, like that. As we learned from Chaitanya Leela, Bengal was the high seat of logic. They were like place for a lot of intellectual gymnastics. Yeah. And so the universities are there, a lot of studies going on, highly educated people. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was one of the most highly educated people at the time. Actually, he was going on the same university school as Rabindranath Tagore is one of the most famous writers in whole Indian history. I have never read his books, but he's always mentioned. So he was on the same school. Yeah. So his first years, he didn't know anything about Gaudiya Vaishnava. I mean, he wasn't into it. Some or other, when he was around 40, he picked it up. And then he got really serious about that. And he was looking for Chaitanya Charitamrita for, as far as I remember, like 2 years. He was looking, couldn't find it. After 2 years, he found finally a copy of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then he managed, then he made sure that this is properly, printed and, spread later. Yeah. And then he started writing like anything. He translated a lot of literatures, from Sanskrit. From mostly I think from Bengal to English. He translated a few things, and also from Sanskrit, as far as I understand. And then he wrote a lot of books himself, over 100 books. Now, the most important ones are translated, of course. He came with this main, philosophy about Gaudiya Vaishnavism called Dasa Mula Tattva. The whole philosophy of Gaudiya Vaishnavism can, be kind of put in 10 bullet points, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God, Krishna is the fountainhead of all the rasas are in Krishna, like this, ontological truths about Gaudiya Vaishnavism. He summarized this very nicely. His book is called Dasa Mula Tattva. Yeah, it's a very important contribution. And he wrote Jaiva Dharma, very great book about, all our spiritual philosophy. And yeah, he has also many other songs, like the song we are singing, Radha Madhava, is coming from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. The song we sing before we take prasadam is also Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Yeah. And he had commentaries also to scriptures. Yeah. So, but first and foremost, he made sure he had a vision. He was a visionary. Okay, he had a vision that this Gaudiya Vaishnavism should be spread to the rest of the world. He was the first person who had that. And he had so many great visions about, the Navadvip area or Gaudiya area. So in one of his books, Navadvip Parikrama book, or it's called Navadvip Mahatmya, maybe, I don't remember now. But it's this book about Navadvip where he envisions that Nityananda Prabhu is walking around there. He's finding, the different places, replicas of Vrindavan. So if you've ever been to Mayapur, you will see, here's a replica of, Radhakund, Shyamakund is there. Replica of, Govardhan is there. The replica of all the places of Krishna's pastimes are there in Mayapur. And he even states in his book that, since Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was incarnation of Krishna, last incarnation of Krishna, he was in Mayapur, so that means Mayapur is so holy you don't need to go to Vrindavan. Mayapur is higher, he even states. Yeah. See, he's a great, Acharya for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Definitely. And he completely, revamped the whole Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. And he begged Krishna, please give me a son who can, expand this further. And he got Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Yeah. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he preached Gaudiya Vaishnavism all over India, established, he had over 60,000 disciples as far as I remember, and so many temples. Gaudiya Mat Mission. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was the first Gaudiya Vaishnava in history who sent his disciples abroad. So before Prabhupada, he sent one to England, I think, and maybe some to Germany, I think also. But they didn't have a great success until Prabhupada. So Prabhupada was sent by Bhaktisiddhanta, right? He was one of the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta. He sent others also to the West. So Bhaktisiddhanta, he did that by the order and inspiration of his father. So finally, with the third generation, first Bhaktivinoda, then Bhaktisiddhanta, and then finally Srila Prabhupada, he could actually get full success in the West and spread it to the rest of the world. Yeah. So just to have an idea of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's schedule is always, good fun, you can say, to read the schedule of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It's a good inspiration. So this is the schedule. You can all see it on the screen here. So let's see, how is the day is starting? Actually, his day is completely wild. We cannot copy this at all. So the day is just starting here. His schedule is starting at 8 o'clock in the night, in the evening. So 8 to 10, he's resting. From 10 to 4 o'clock in the morning, he's writing. Yep. From 4 to 4:30, he's resting. From 4:30 to 7, he's chanting japa. From 7 to 7:30, he's doing correspondence. From 7:30 to 9:30, he's studying shastras. From 9:30 to 10, he's taking bath and prasadam. From 10 to 1 o'clock, he's doing his court duty. He was working as a judge. From 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, he refreshes at home. From 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock, he's doing again his court job. So he was working 6 hours a day, like that. And from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock, he translates Sanskrit Shastras to Bengali. And from 7 to 8 o'clock, he took his bath, prasadam. And the summary is he's sleeping 3 hours, writing 8.5 hours, chanting and studying 4.5 hours, and working 6 hours. Yeah. So that's an extremely austere schedule. So no wonder he was so productive in his last 40 years after joining Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Yeah. So he left a great legacy, which his son, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, picked up. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was a disciple of Gauri Kishore Das Babaji, who was extremely austere. Gauri Kishore Das Babaji, he basically was, he just had one disciple, and that was, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Yeah. And he even became blind. He didn't want to get cured from his blindness. He didn't want any contact with material world whatsoever. He just chanted. He stayed mostly for himself. But he also liked Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He came to Bhaktivinoda Thakur to hear him. But otherwise he was quite recluse. Yeah. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, yeah. Just to get to, he met Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada met him, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur immediately instructed Srila Prabhupada, just go to the West and preach, translate our books into English literature to preach in the West. Immediately, Prabhupada is coming in the door. First time you see him, he bowed down, and before he even can rise up, then Bhaktisiddhanta has already instructed him, you are an intelligent man. Why don't you preach this message in the English language in the West? And 11 years later, then Prabhupada actually took formal initiation. And he was still a householder, but he started producing Back to God magazine. So Prabhupada started writing in English. He took his order to heart. And he started personally distributing Prabhupada, this English magazine. And in that way, Prabhupada started his preaching already in India. And later on, he became, Prabhupada, he took, Vanaprastha. And he started living in Vrindavan, and then he got sannyas there. And then Srila Prabhupada went to the West in 1963, was it? Yeah, something like that. 1963 or 60? No, sorry, 65. 65. Yeah. With the Jala Duta ship. Somewhere or other, he got he got on the ship for free as a sannyasi, and he arrived in Boston. And from there, Srila Prabhupada started preaching slowly but surely. The first year didn't happen much. But after the first year, it really started snowballing, and he started his center there in New York, at 26th 2nd Avenue, and from there, disciples started coming, and it spread to all the different cities. And Prabhupada, he wrote, Bhagavad Gita translation was the first, main book, and then translation and especially commentary, Prabhupada's commentary. That's why it's called Bhagavad Gita as it is. And then Prabhupada, he wrote the whole Srimad Bhagavatam, almost finished, but his disciples finished it later on. He wrote like the first few chapters of 10th canto, from 1st to 10th canto, like that. And then he wrote the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And of course he wrote the translation to Bhakti-rasa Samrita Sindhu and Nectar of Devotion and Nectar of Instruction, Prabhupada's titles. These two books by Rupa Goswami. And many other small books also. In that way, Prabhupada arranged also very great books distribution, greater than any other acharya in the history. And so Prabhupada's books have been spread all over the world. How many copies of Prabhupada's books? I think I heard 1 year ago that it reached now 500 million. So over 500 million books of Prabhupada has been spread now all over the world. And even at Prabhupada's time, there was over 108 temples opened. And now it must be thousands of temples. There's never been as many devotees on the planet as now. Sometimes the Buddhists think, in the old days was more, but that may be in some places in the West is true. But if you count India and Russia, because there it really started big after Prabhupada left, actually, in Russia and India. Now there is enormous amount of devotees. Yeah. So in that way, this was the history in a nutshell of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So I beg pardon if I missed some important things. I probably did, and please forgive me if I said anything wrong. I tried my best. So thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.